discussing our ideas with the governments concerned.
Now in the agenda of Cartagena, one of the points of the agenda also is going to be the disarmament. Now you were talking about how Brioni idea is moving, talking with the governments. What are you going to talk about disarmament? What are you going to try to talk with the United States, with Russia, with all the world about such important theme that is disarmament?
This is of course a key problem, and we intend to send small missions to the two capitals of the superpowers, Washington, Moscow, to discuss our ideas with them. In the meantime, we will also set up small working groups headed by one or the other member of our council, dealing with the arms sale, for instance, the use of money for buying arms in the developing countries, but also the selling of arms by industrialized nations to developing countries, and a working group dealing with the disarmament problem as such, which of course is a problem mainly for the developed countries. So we are preparing the ground for a more precise action of our council. We consider this problem one of the most important, one of the most dangerous issues of our time, and you may be assured that we attach great importance to it, and we will act in a very constructive way, because you can't force governments. We can use our long experience, we can use our prestige in international affairs, but what we have to do is to convince governments to do something about it. And this is exactly what we intend to do.
But don't you think one of the key part of the problem is trying to sit in the table of negotiation, the United States and Russia again, in Geneva, or maybe President Reagan and Chernenko, Prime Minister Chernenko? What can interaction do to try to solve that problem of disarmament, seeking the two superpowers?
Well, it is a political problem. I think it is not the question now to convince one or the other government to limit warheads, in other words, to deal with the technical aspects of the problem. What we first need is the political will of the two sides, especially the two superpowers, to agree on a disarmament treaty, arms limitation treaty. And then the technicians can go to work. Now what we are intending to do is to use our experience and to use the fact, or to profit of the fact, that we are independent, that we are objective. We don't want to favor one or the other side, to convince them in our personal talks of the necessity to come to terms, to start the dialogue again. Because let there be no doubt, as long as the present political climate prevails in international affairs, especially this deep mistrust between the Soviet Union and the United States, there's no chance for a reasonable arms control agreement. We need first to restore a minimum of confidence between the two, and in general. Then we have a chance to resume the dialogue and to agree on a reasonable disarmament treaty.
Mr. Former Secretary, you've been former Secretary General of the United Nations. Now we see that some countries, for example the Contadora group countries, they are making their own groups. They are not going to the international organizations such as United Nations or such as the OAS. What is happening to the these international organizations that the countries sometimes are trying to find their own groups to resolve their problems?
It is a regrettable fact that the international organizations were unable, in many instances, to solve problems. And that is the reason why partisan conflict more and more try to solve their problems outside international organizations. The Contadora Group is a group of 4 countries from Latin America to use their influence in order to work out a political settlement of the problems in Central America. And I think this is good so. I welcome this initiative, and I sincerely hope that it will succeed. We have to see. We do not know yet what the outcome will be, but there are encouraging signs that all sides are interested in using this help. So let me say that one initiative doesn't exclude the other. Maybe that sooner or later the United Nations or the OAS will come in again and try to work out a solution with the help of the Contadora Group. Or the Contadora Group is in a position to work out a solution which can then be endorsed by the international community, but in the first place by the countries concerned and by Latin America. So even in the Charter of the United Nations it says that regional organizations or regional institutions should help first before the international organization starts to work. Now here the Contadora Group is a regional group of countries which took the initiative to help, and I think this is wise and I welcome it.
Thank you very much, Mr. Waldheim, former Secretary General of the United Nations.